In the golden era of the sideshow, circuses rolled into towns with gaudy banners promising a glimpse at nature's most bizarre anomalies. Inside those dimly lit tents, people encountered eerie spectacles like conjoined twins, bearded ladies, tall giants, and human forms that defied all conventional logic. Often ridiculed and cast aside due to ignorance and old beliefs, many of these individuals found acceptance under the circus tent, where their uniqueness became both their stage and their income. Here are the most legendary circus freaks that actually existed. Number 15. Lalu, the Happy Hindu. In the world of human oddities, few figures were as startling as Lalo. Born in 1874 in India, he entered the world with a parasitic twin fused to his chest, complete with legs and arms but no head or brain. To many, it was horror. To Lalo, it was simply part of who he was. Despite his Muslim background, promoters rebranded him as the Happy Hindu, a name carefully crafted to appeal to Western crowds. In 1888, an English showman discovered him and brought him to Europe, where fascination quickly escalated into obsession. Lalo became a staple in prominent sideshows across Europe and America. When he joined the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus, his fame soared. Audiences gasped, some laughed, but Lalo remained composed. He even dressed the parasitic twin in girls' clothing to soften reactions. In 1905, on his way to tour Mexico with the Norris and Roe Circus, Lalo died in a tragic train accident. Number 14. Priscilla Bejano. Priscilla Bejano's life was destined to be unusual from the very beginning. Born in 1911 and covered in dense black hair from head to toe due to hypertrichosis, the little girl from Bayamon, Puerto Rico, became both a curiosity and a subject of confusion. Her father, desperate for explanations, took her to American physicians in New York. But when science offered no answers, he turned to show business. At just 3, Priscilla entered the exhibition world, where she caught the attention of Carl Lother, a showman with sharp instincts and, surprisingly, a compassionate heart. After her father's sudden death, Carl adopted her, taking on the roles of manager and guardian. He ensured she was educated and not reduced to a mere oddity. Still, the nickname Monkey Girl haunted her. She performed alongside a chimp named Josephine and later with an orangutan named Snooky, staging satirical debates about evolution. But what truly defined Priscilla was her dignity, charisma, and quiet strength in a world built on mockery. Number 13. Joseph Merrick. Joseph's life didn't begin in sorrow. He was a healthy infant until age 5. That's when things changed. His skin grew thick, his lips swelled, and a strange growth appeared on his forehead. Over the years, his body twisted into something unrecognizable. One side of his face ballooned, his limbs no longer matched. His mother believed a fright during pregnancy, being startled by an elephant, was the cause. At 11, he lost the only person who truly loved him. His father remarried, and the new home became cold and harsh. Forced to work in a cigar factory at 13, Joseph struggled. His deformities made work impossible, and he was eventually fired. With no other option, he joined the freak show circuit. Branded the Elephant Man, he became a living exhibit. Yet beneath the disfigurement was a man of profound intelligence and quiet grace. Dr. Frederick Trevis offered him brief peace, but years of gawking had already done their damage. Number 12. Edward Mordrake. Edward Mordrake's story remains one of the most chilling and bizarre medical legends ever documented in human history. Born into English aristocracy during the 19th century, he was said to possess a terrifying deformity, a second face on the back of his head. Far from passive, this face was rumored to grimace, smirk, and whisper to him at night. Edward insisted it tormented him with sinister voices only he could hear. No one else could understand the torment he endured. He begged doctors to remove it, but none dared attempt such a risky operation. Trapped with his constant tormentor, Edward spiraled into despair. Ultimately, unable to escape the madness, he took his own life, leaving behind a final note begging for the second face to be destroyed before burial. Despite vivid retellings, no official medical documentation has ever been found. Many believe his story is a myth passed down through time, but who knows the truth? Number 11. Myrtle Corbin. When people first heard tales of a girl with 4 legs, most assumed it was staged. But Josephine Myrtle Corbin was no illusion. Born in 1868 in Lincoln County, Tennessee, she had a rare condition called dipigus, which caused her body to split from the waist down, forming 2 pelvises and 4 legs. 2 worked, 2 didn't. Doctors were astounded, but Myrtle remained spirited and intelligent. At just 13, she joined the sideshow scene as the 4-legged girl from Texas, captivating crowds instantly. Her calm demeanor and friendly nature surprised even the most skeptical viewers. Her popularity sparked imitators, people strapping fake limbs to their sides to copy her success. But Myrtle stood apart. She didn't just endure the sideshow life, she excelled in it. At 19, she stepped away from the spotlight and married James Clinton Bicknell. Together, they had 5 children, shattering medical assumptions. While many freak show acts were remembered for how they looked, Myrtle's legacy came from the life she built beyond it. Number 10. Fanny Mills. The name Bigfoot Lady might spark fun, but for Fanny, it was tied to a life of pain, struggle, and feeling like an outsider. Born around 1860 in England, she relocated to Ohio during childhood, where her condition quickly became apparent. Her feet, swollen and misshapen due to what was later identified as Milroy's disease, grew to an overwhelming size. The rest of her body, however, remained entirely average. She felt trapped in a form that turned her into a public oddity. By the 1880s, Fanny realized that if she couldn't hide, she could at least earn. With her close friend Mary Brown by her side, she joined the dime museum circuit. Onlookers were stunned, even horrified when she took the stage. Yet Mill held her head high and carried herself with quiet dignity. Away from the spotlight, she battled relentless pain and emotional exhaustion. Number 9. Grady Stiles Jr. Grady wasn't the first in his family to be born with ectrodactyly, but he became its most notorious figure. The condition, often called lobster claw syndrome, split his hands and feet into claw-like shapes. Walking was impossible, so Grady used his arms, developing upper body strength that shocked people. His father, who also had the condition, introduced him to the stage early. Grady quickly became the highlight of their act, known as the Lobster Family. But behind the curtain, life was chaotic. He married twice, had 4 kids, and struggled with alcoholism and violence. Though his act mesmerized audiences, he carried personal demons that refused to stay hidden. 2 of his children inherited the same condition and performed with him. By the time he joined Ringling Brothers, he was a legend and a warning. Admired by some, feared by others, Grady became infamous not only for his rare limbs, but for the pain he brought both on and off stage. Number 8. The Elastic Man. He could stretch the skin on his arms like elastic, twist his fingers backward, and contort his body into shapes that made people question reality. Felix Verley wasn't a magician's illusion. He was flesh and bone. Born with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, a rare connective tissue disorder, Felix's skin was shockingly elastic, and his joints bent far beyond what most thought possible. What others might have hidden, he embraced. During the height of American sideshows, he made his debut with the Barnum and Bailey Circus and quickly gained notoriety as the elastic-skinned man. He'd pull the skin across his chest and stretch his face into surreal forms, each performance pushing physical boundaries. But Felix's act wasn't about shock. it was about mastery. He turned his difference into art. Behind the curtain, he lived with chronic pain, but he never let it stop him. He didn't seek pity, he wanted applause. Felix didn't just perform with his body, he controlled it, owned it, and turned it into something unforgettable. Number 7. Suzie. Her real name was Charlotte Linda Vogel, but the world knew her as Suzie the elephant-skinned girl. Born in Germany in 1908, Suzie was diagnosed with ichthyosis, a disorder that thickened her skin, made it grayish, and caused deep, painful cracks. Every movement came with discomfort. But Suzie didn't hide. She stepped onto stages. As Hitler's grip on Germany grew, she fled to the US, carving out a new life as a performer. In New York, she became a regular at Coney Island's Dreamland and Hubert's Museum, places where circus performers weren't just stared at, but embraced. By 1933, she was drawing crowds at the Chicago World's Fair, performing under Ripley's Believe It or Not. Her painful condition became her armor, an unexpected source of strength. Later, Suzie joined the Ringling Brothers and appeared at Madison Square Garden, wowing crowds with both toughness and elegance. Number 6. Charles Stratton. Before social media fame and global celebrity culture, there was Charles Stratton, known across the world as General Tom Thumb. Born in 1838 in Bridgeport, Connecticut, Charles was an average-sized infant, but stopped growing after 5 months. By the time he turned 4, he stood only 25 inches tall. That's when P.T. Barnum entered his life. Barnum didn't just give him a stage, he gave him a persona. He dressed Charles in royal costumes, crafted a fictional noble background, and introduced him to the world as General Tom Thumb. Charles performed at Barnum's American Museum, dancing, singing, and charming audiences with sharp wit. In 1844, Barnum brought him to England to meet Queen Victoria. She adored him. Soon, all of Europe followed suit. Charles became one of the most recognizable entertainers of the era, not for his size, but for his presence. Unlike many performers, he retired wealthy, respected, and married. Number 5. Chang and Eng. They were born joined at the chest in 1811 in what was then known as Siam. But Chang and Eng were more than a biological oddity. They were two individuals forced to share one life. Their condition made them a global phenomenon, but it was their choices that turned them into icons. Discovered by Western traders in their teens, the twins left their homeland and journeyed across oceans, performing in exhibitions from Europe to America. In each city, crowds paid to witness the unimaginable: 2 minds, 2 hearts, 1 body. By the 1830s, the term Siamese twins became forever linked to them. But they didn't remain on the fringes. They became U.S. citizens, bought property in North Carolina, and even married sisters, fathering over 20 children. Their lives blended the bizarre with the domestic. It was never easy. They endured bigotry, health challenges, and the emotional strain of never having solitude. But they remained together, not just by anatomy, but by their unwavering decision. All right, now, let's move to Number 4. Annie Jones. Annie was born in 1865 in Virginia, and her parents were stunned to find she had a soft, visible beard at birth. As she grew older, so did the hair, and so did the public's fascination. By 9 months old, Annie was already on display at P.T. Barnum's American Museum, known as the Infant Esau. Her parents didn't hide her. They welcomed the attention, and Annie did the same. Over time, she evolved into Barnum's most famous bearded lady. But Annie wasn't just a visual act. She performed with grace, played the mandolin, and carried herself with elegance. At 15, she married fellow sideshow performer Richard Elliott. Though the marriage ended after 15 years, her career thrived. Later, she remarried William and toured Europe with him until his unexpected passing. Annie returned to circus life, the only world that ever truly accepted her. She lived in a time when women were expected to stay silent, but Annie stood tall, with a beard and a voice. Number 3, Robert Huddleston. Robert Huddleston didn't walk, he galloped. Born in 1895 near Excelsior Springs, Missouri, Robert had congenital genu recurvatum, a condition that bent his knees backward and made upright walking impossible. Crutches didn't help, so he adapted, moving on all fours with speed and stamina that stunned anyone who watched. On his family farm, he refused pity. He milked cows, hauled hay, and even worked as a teamster, hauling logs. He shielded his hands with leather pads and wooden blocks, building immense upper body strength. During World War II, Robert became a skilled blacksmith and carpenter, earning respect through pure ability. His craftsmanship was unmatched, but it wasn't until after the war that he joined a small Texas carnival and became known as the Pony Boy. Audiences watched in disbelief as he moved quickly, precisely, and independently. Robert didn't perform for sympathy. He performed to show strength. Number 2, Zip the Pinhead. He screeched, squealed, and zipped across the stage like a wild animal. But beneath the act was William Henry Johnson, the man the world knew as Zip the Pinhead. Born around 1842 to formerly enslaved parents, William had a small, tapered skull that many believed was due to microcephaly, though others say it may have been exaggerated for performance. In the 1860s, P.T. Barnum discovered him and reimagined him as the missing link, a supposed evolutionary throwback between humans and apes. With Darwin's theory of evolution still fresh in the public mind, Zip became a sensation. Barnum claimed he was from a lost African tribe. It was equal parts fantasy, cruelty, and performance. Some believed the story, others just played along. For over 60 years, William performed across America, becoming known as the Dean of Freaks. Many believe he wasn't impaired at all, but a shrewd performer who played the part masterfully. Number 1, Isaac W. Sprague. There was a time when Isaac W. Sprague was just a healthy young boy from Massachusetts. But everything shifted when, at age 12, he began to lose weight without reason. As an adult, Isaac stood 5 feet 5 inches and weighed only 41 pounds. By 19, he had lost both of his parents and was left penniless, alone, and physically too fragile for physical labor. Odd jobs kept him afloat briefly until P.T. Barnum entered his life. Under Barnum's banner, he was billed as the living skeleton and became a central act in one of history's most infamous traveling shows. Every night he stood under glaring lights while strangers stared, laughed, and whispered. But behind the curtain, he found solidarity among others labeled as freaks. They didn't see a sideshow act. They saw family. That didn't erase the hardship, but it gave him something to hold on to. His condition remains a mystery, but his endurance was undeniable. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for hanging with us, and we'll see you in the next one.